Okay, welcome back. I have fixed up the right hand now, and it stays in place at the first location here. Let's just play that. So here it stays locked, and then it will stay locked up here as well. And then I'm gonna let go of it. All right. Sorry about that. Somebody's driving crazy outside. So I think this is a good time to put all your constraints back on the plot that back. So right click here and say plot whole scene to the current tick. And that's gonna bake all these constraints back, and we can turn off the story, and we can take our constraints, all the position constraints here, and we can delete them. So we can see now that the animation still has these locked positions baked into the animation now without any constraints. So this is actually also a good time to start working on what we need really for this clip. So this is basically just a test setup, but I'm gonna show that anyway. So we can go ahead and select all these tracks here, so we don't need them. And let's turn on story mode again, and then insert a character animation track and select our UE4 character, and then insert the current take. Press A to frame up on everything. So I think I'm just gonna say, okay, so something like here is gonna be okay. Whoa. Sorry. Gonna try that again. So I'm gonna razor this, click the clip here and click the razor button, and then hit delete on the keyboard. So I'm gonna also find the position in the end where I think this is gonna end. So looks like this is a good place. So click the clip and click the razor and hit delete. So click the remaining here, and double click here and say 0. Okay, so all we need now to do is to frame start and end. It's gonna create this so we know where it starts and ends, and I'm gonna plot the whole scene to the current tick. Okay, so now everything with the original animation is going to be out of sync, and that's just something we need to live with, because we don't actually really need it anymore. So I'm going to turn that off so it's hidden away. So we just have this now, and that's just going to make things a little bit easier to work with. So the next thing we should definitely take a look at is the hands, and the way you could actually add rotation constraint, I think. That could be a way to do this, maybe, or maybe an expression constraint to only allow rotation on one axis. But I like to do this in a different way, so I'm just going to go ahead and look at the rotation for, let's say, the left hand here. So I know that my left hand needs to be at around, I'm just going to find a spot where it's rotated. I'm just hoping that there is one. So at this point here, this looks like it has the right X rotation, the red one. So I'm going to switch to the curves, and with the effector here selected, I have the X axis here. I'm going to select that and hit A on my keyboard, so it's going to show everything. So it looks like this rotation really is what I want to have. Let's see, what we need to do is to have a copy of this key here really, and say, okay, so where did this begin? I'm just gonna because we passed a little bit into the animation here. So I'm gonna remove 3 frames here so I can see that we have a lot of frames in here. And basically I'm gonna find that place in animation where I grab on to the hold and say at that point I want to have a certain that same rotation, so around here. I'm gonna paste that key in, which is gonna rotate a little bit off actually, so I'm gonna just find this rotation here really, and everything in between here I don't really want because they are just gonna be off. So I'm gonna select everything in between, and here you can see why I leave a few keys here. So it's gonna create this really nice smooth curve. I actually don't want that. I want this to be a flat tangent, and actually the same with this one. So it's going to be flat in between this. So we need to ease into this actually. So I'm going to find a key a little bit off here where it has that entry rotation, and so I'm just going to delete the keys in here, so it's going to ease into this one like that, and then it's going to sort of stay at that same rotation here as we can see. So here it begins to rotate off again. I'm just going to see why it does that. Seems like it needs to stay there a bit longer. So let's see, I'm hanging round, so around this point here, here I'm letting go of the hold. I still need to have that same rotation really, so I am gonna find that location here, and I'm gonna make sure to rotate my hand to where I want it to be and set a key. So it's gonna put this little spike up here. Just like before, I'm just gonna remove a few keys. I know for certain that I won't be needing them. So I'm guessing that somewhere in between this and this, I need to have a pretty steady hand. So I'm just gonna flatten this also at the end, and since this is something I don't want to have a pop at, I'm gonna move that up so it becomes quite flat and doesn't cause a new weird movement. Alright, so if I scrub through the animation, we can see there's still a rotation going on. And I think maybe, do we have a movement on the x-axis here? Yeah, we do have some movement. So I probably need to make sure, because I don't really want this to move at all. So I'm going to copy this first key I took here, and I'm going to move all the way over here. And just going to dump it here, like that. And that should really freeze the X rotation. So we still have some rotation on the Y and the Z, and I guess right now I don't worry too much about him, but it's something I should probably return to, because that actually should also remain pretty stationary. So let's go back again and play that. Alright, so that was the first hold, and let's find the next hold. So yeah, I grab on, and I need to figure out which rotation I want. So it's something like this. I'm gonna set a key, and I'm gonna delete a few frames like this, and I'm gonna scroll to the end where I let go again and move on. So looks like it's about here, maybe a little bit before, like here, so it's all twisted up the wrong way. So I'm gonna swing that back like this. Actually, you need to rotate the wrist also a little bit in order to make this look a little bit better, but that's something for later. So I'm gonna set a key here, so I can see I'm making a little spike here. Gonna remove that, and let's see, I had my key that I inserted over here, so I copied that one, and I'm gonna paste that in about here. So that's actually gonna create a little rotation too much. I'm gonna put that back, set that here. Okay, so this is actually going to be a little bit challenging, I think. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna delete everything in between here, and I'm gonna flatten this one, and I am gonna flatten this one, the end key. That's going to create this flat plateau. So to begin with, I can see that from this to this, it's going to make a pop. So again, since we want this to make a smooth transition, I'm going to delete something like here, and it's going to create a nice rotational transition here. So from here on, it's going to remain stationary, and it's going to make a little rotation, as we can see. But I think this is going to be sort of okay. So we need to fix out the end here, which is going to make a pop as well. So let's end here. So this is the exit, and this is somewhere where I want it to be. So delete everything in between, and that's gonna hopefully create a smooth rotation transition out of it. Okay, so I hope you can see where I'm going with this. So I'm just gonna do the last one here, and then I'm gonna do the right one off video as well. Let's see, we have the location here where I grab the hold. Set a little key. Remove a few frames, copy that. Actually, while I'm at it, let's just flatten this out. And let's see where I let go. So somewhere here, so paste that in, paste that in, and get rid of everything in between. Gonna flatten this one out. And like that. Okay, and let's move a few frames forward like here and delete everything in between. So it's gonna create a nice smooth rotation curve. Looks pretty good. And also in the beginning, why grab hold. Alright, so that actually is pretty smooth already. I don't think I'm gonna do anything about that one. So that should take care of the X rotation when I hold on. I still have rotation on the C and the Y axis, but I should probably do something about it. If we just let me see how much time I spent. Okay, so 15 minutes. Let me just quickly mention a few things about how we can go ahead and do that. So if I select both the X and the Y, so I'm control clicking these, I would probably see if I could get these the y-axis pretty clean as well. Let me just fix that one. Doesn't like that. Right. So I'll probably see if I could make this curve here, in between here, flat as well. So I'm guessing I want to make a little change like this. Set a key. Whoops, don't want to do that. I want to select only the y-axis, set a key here. So this is probably where I want it to be. I can see this little spike pretty clearly now, and I'm gonna control click the X just to see if this reference is correct, and I see I moved it anyway, so I'm just gonna undo that. I'm gonna select that again. So this frame here, I want this to be, so I'm gonna just find the frame here by having both selected, but then I'm gonna change to only the Y, and I'm gonna swing it over a little bit and set a key. Gonna set a key. Hello. Okay, so this is actually why it's supposed to be. Okay, amazing. Alright, and then I will select both of them and say, okay, so this is a point where I let go. So just find that location and see if the rotation is where I want it to be. So just put it roughly there and set a key. So delete everything in between. And I don't really know if I want these to be entirely flat, but I'm gonna do this, do it this time and see how it works. And might or might not look good. So, oops. Let's take that and get rid of this. So still has a little bit of rotation. Does it? The X still has a little bit of rotation. I wonder why it does that. Hey, okay, so this is not the correct key I copied. I think I copied the wrong one, so I'm just going to do that again. There we go. So sorry about that. So it's still gonna tilt a little bit. Why is it still tilting a little bit? I'm not too concerned by that though, just wondering. So this Y rotation. Okay, so okay, anyway, doesn't really matter that much. So the next step is going to be to fix up the right hand, and I'm going to do that off video anyway. So see you once that's done. Bye bye.